Hello everyone, it's That Teacher here, and today's lesson is going to be on simplifying fractions. Let's start learning. Welcome back to the channel everyone, thank you for tuning in to today's lesson. Let's dive straight in. Now today's lesson, we are going to discuss simplifying fractions, and we are going to ramp up the difficulty from our previous lesson on this channel. The first thing we need to know in order to do that is something called the highest common factor. Now the highest common factor, also known as the greatest common divisor, is the largest number that divides exactly into two or more numbers. Let's use 12 over 16 to demonstrate and discuss this concept. So the first thing we need to do is identify the factors of 12. So what numbers can be divided evenly into 12 without any remainders? Those numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, okay? We are going to do the same thing with the 16. So the factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and of course 16. Now just a quick side note, the number itself is always a factor. So as you can see, 16 is a factor of 16 and 12 is a factor of 12. So the same thing can be discussed with the 1. So 1 is always going to be a factor of a whole number, and the number itself is always going to be a factor of the number. So the next thing we need to do is identify what common factors do we have. So as you can see here, we have 1, both numbers can be divided by 1. Both numbers can be divided by 2, and both numbers can be divided by 4. There are no other common factors. So the highest common factor here is going to be the 4, because as I said before, 4 is the highest number that can be divided evenly into both numbers. The reason we can't use 8 or 16 is because if we were to use the number 8, 8 cannot be divided evenly into the number 12. So the highest common factor here is 4. Once you have identified the highest common factor, we need to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So 12 divided by 4 and 16 divided by 4. And that will give us our simplified fraction, which is going to be 3/4. Moving on. This is how you simplify larger fractions. The first thing you need to do is identify the factors of the number 9. So our fraction here is 9 over 15. The factors of 9 are 1, 3, and 9. And the factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. Now, if you look at that, the only common numbers we have between both of our numbers are 1 and 3. So the highest common factor, the highest number that can be divided evenly into both numbers, is the number 3. So the next step, once we've identified the highest common factor, we need to divide both our numerator and denominator by this number. So 9 divided by 3 and 15 divided by 3. This is going to give you your simplified fraction of 3/5, and that's how you simplify larger fractions. I'm going to demonstrate what to do 4 more times to consolidate this understanding and learning of simplifying larger fractions. So the first fraction we have is 12 over 16. The highest common the highest common factor here is going to be 4. So what number can be divided into both numbers? That is going to be 4. We divide both the numerator and the denominator by 4, giving us our simplified fraction 3/4. The next question we have is 16 over 20. Now the highest common factor here is going to be 4 again. So we divide both the numerator and the denominator by 4, giving us our simplified fraction 4/5. Now we have quite a bit of a larger number here, 18 over 27. This is why it's super important to understand your times tables, because if you have a good understanding of your times tables, you will be able to instantly recognize that both 18 and 27 are multiples of 9 from the 9 times tables. So we immediately know, hey, both of these numbers can be divided by 9. So we have found the highest common multiple. So 18 over 27, we divide both numbers by 9, and that answer is going to be 2/3. Finally, we have 18 over 36. Now, what can both of these numbers be divided by? So, we understand that both numbers can be divided by 6, because who would realize that both numbers could be divided by 18 straight away? But there is a method. If you get quite a bit of a larger number, you can simply follow the simplifying fraction process twice and you'll get to the end goal. So 18 divided by 6 is going to be 3, and 36 divided by 6 is going to be 6, giving us our simplified fraction, 3 over 6. Now, that isn't the simplest form that fraction can achieve. So if we divide both of these numbers by 2, that will give us further simplification of that fraction to 1/2. So as you can see here, if you land on a fraction and you realize, hey, I can simplify this further, always go with the simplest form that fraction can achieve. In class, I tell my students, if you can simplify, always simplify. Because when you get into high school, some high schools will actually mark you partially incorrect if you wrote 3 over 6 instead of 1/2. So I highly recommend always going that little bit step further and simplifying your fractions. So I have included some questions for you to do at home. Hopefully you've understood how to simplify larger fractions, and I know that with this knowledge and understanding, you are going to absolutely ace these questions. So, answers coming ahead. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you can, and it really helps me, it motivates me. Thank you. So, here are the answers you can see. So hopefully I've included the working out for your answers. Hopefully this helps you in your journey to understand how to simplify your fractions. It's that teacher. We'll see you on the next lesson.